Chelsea Football Club are in direct conversations with Ajax now after Hato agrees on the personal terms to come to Chelsea. Xavi Simons is very close to a here we go because he's already agreed personal terms. Chelsea and Leipzig are in full-fledged discussions, and Fabrizio's doing that thing where he's about to drop the here we go and he's releasing updates every few hours. We're going to talk about the details there. Kokarea has come out and spoke about Noni Madueke and him leaving. It's actually interesting. A few people saying he's firing shots. I think those people are reaching, and it's actually Kokorea's personality, just cheeky, chappy, and making a few comments here and there. And finally, a lot of people are getting excited about Raheem Sterling going to Bayer Leverkusen or Juventus, Joao Felix going to Benfica. The reality is, I'm here to burst the bubble. The numbers that Chelsea are asking for, the numbers that are being reported are ludicrous. They're stupid. I don't believe that we're going to get those numbers. And what's happening is those numbers get clicks. People get excited, people talk about it, and then people come to me and ask me, is this happening? And I want to communicate to you once again why it won't happen and why Chelsea and the players need to decide what they want for their future. We're going to talk about it. It is a contentious issue, but before we get started, number one, hit that like button because it's the best way you can support the channel if you're already subscribed. 1,500 likes is what we're aiming for in this video. Number two, subscribe if you're new. We're like 80 people away from 42,000. What I guarantee when you subscribe is consistent news on Chelsea Football Club, updates that are non-biased and transparent. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and more importantly, good non-reactionary content. And the minute I'm reactionary and you think I'm consistently just putting out nonsense, unsubscribe. So let's get started. I want to start with the Xavi Simons news, get into Hato, then talk Kokarea, and then talk the remaining two transfers, right? The reason I want to start with the Xavi Simons news because I feel like it's the biggest needle move. Xavi Simons comes in, and not only does he come into Chelsea Football Club, he's a starter. A lot of people will say, Gittins is the starter. Alex cost nearly 60 million euros. Yes, most probably the idea of Gittins is amazing. However, the body of work that we have is that Xavi Simons is more developed, more ready to come into the team, and a bigger goal threat just from the jump. What is going on? What has changed? And why is it happening? Number one, Xavi Simons is keen on joining Chelsea Football Club. We've spoken about this yesterday, and we've reiterated it, and I'm going to summarize it. The player wants to play for Chelsea. The player wants to move to London. The player is very attractive by the idea of joining the World Cup champions and a team in the Champions League. We tick the boxes that attracts big players to Chelsea Football Club. Lovely. But what's happening now is, whilst the player's agent is pushing for Chelsea to get him, and the player himself is pushing for Chelsea to get him because he's already settled on the idea of leaving Leipzig, the two clubs are in discussion. And Fabrizio keeps coming out and saying it's moving fast. The move is moving at a very quick pace. This is what he tends to do when Here We Go is about to drop. For me, I reckon by the time I release the next video, we will have clear indications of the price that we're paying and the Here We Go. And there will be no point of me doing an emergency news because I feel like he's already our player. What we've seen is someone as reliable as the secret scout coming out and saying it's as good as a done deal. When the secret scout comes out and publicly says it's as good as a done deal, it's a done deal. People are going to say, why do you trust this guy? This guy knew about the Caicedo deal. This guy knew about the Enzo deal. And he doesn't consistently report. He only reports where he has guaranteed proof in his sources. And for me, this is a reliable person. He has never let me down in the sense that when he's put a tweet out, it's usually a done deal, sorted. And I love that. You need more sources like this in this modern age where everyone's just giving out information left, right, and center because they want to be first. You need people that you know, once they say something, it's in. Steph Curry from free, it's in. And the key here apparently lies that Chelsea are going to try to do one of those swap deals. Listen, ever since Blueco have come in, we've been begging for one of these swap deals to work. Absolutely begging for it. The only one that we got across the line was Omari Kellerman and Ian Matz. And even then, the numbers were inflated. It wasn't a direct swap deal. So, Chelsea apparently are going to be sending Carney Chukwuemeka the other way. You all know my opinion on Carney. Very talented player. A very good player from the side of the fact that has everything in his locker. Problem is, he's an idea baller. A lot of people have been saying that to me about multiple other players, and I really like the expression because the idea of Carney is brilliant, but he's not on the pitch long enough to make an impact, and he can't stay fit to make an impact. So you need to let him go. You need to let him go and develop somewhere else. And at the end of the day, we know Blueco are releasing him basically because of his wages. If his wages were lower, I think Carney would have a future at the project. But this is the news. This is everything that we know so far. But like I said, I won't be surprised if this deal is going to get a here we go real quick. Another player that's agreed personal terms is Gerald Hato. So Fabrizio Romano has come out and said the player is open to the idea of joining Chelsea. He's spoken to Chelsea and the terms are going to be easily agreeable, right? This is to the point where they most probably have spoken to his agent, have sorted it out, everything's in verbal terms. They're most probably going to sit down and do the formal stuff and get it out of the way. However, conversations with Ajax have just begun. A couple of weeks ago, we heard murmurs that Chelsea valued him around about £40 million. Ajax valued him close to £60 million. We'll see where the negotiations go, where it takes it. What do we know about Gerald Hato? Hato is a very, very impressive young man. Like, when it comes to football, what he has achieved at such a young age, it should be rewarded and merited and uplifted. For example, he can play left back, he can play left centre back, he can play right centre back. He's very aggressive, he's decently quick, he's good on the ball with his left foot. Apparently he really lacks the ability with his right. That's something you can develop, and more importantly, how many players these days just play one side of their foot? Like, it's genuinely very common, you know? Outside trivela there, outside of the boot, you know how it is. Like, lace it with the middle of your foot, toe poke it. They'll do anything but to use their weaker foot. You can work on it, you can develop it. For me, the key here is, though, he's 19. He'll be the Renato Vega replacement. We're going to get a huge fee for Renato Vega, meaning we're going to reinvest that money into Gerald Hato. And long term, he will be the replacement for Badiashile and Kokarea. It's two birds with one stone. Essentially, when Kokarea needs a rest, Hato comes in. If Hato comes in, guess what happens? If Colwell needs a rest, Hato comes in. And you can balance it. You already have Trev, Toussaint, and Fofana, and Josh. You can make it work. For me, this is a brilliant move. This is something that I really want to happen. I think the talent is absolutely beyond belief. Genuinely, being the captain of Ajax at age 19 is crazy. I've always said I wanted Ishe Samuel-Smith to get an opportunity, but Ishe's going to Strasbourg. It's gone really quiet. So we needed someone in that profile. You're getting me someone like a Hato. Boy, you're spoiling me. Absolutely spoiling me. Hato and Simons. This window is turning out to be absolutely brilliant. Genuinely, for those of you that remember, right, when I was in Malta and I was on holiday, I came out and I spoke about Mike Maignan. And you know my perspective, right? I never crash out unless it's warranted in my head. Unless something huge happens. And for me, the Mike Maignan crash out was massive because I thought we've matured as an entity. I wasn't so keen on Delap. Like, I was fine. Joao Pedro, I said, okay, cool, I'll trust you. I wasn't the biggest fan of Gittins. They got him. But we back these players when they come. But with Mike Maignan, it was the personification of we are now getting somebody that is at the peak of his powers to come in and replace Robert Sanchez. So, to see where we were at that moment to where we are now, where the window has developed and we're seeing what's happening, and there's still, I think, five weeks left of the window. We have to praise Blueco. We do. We have to give praise to the directors, because when it goes badly, we call him out. When it goes well, we have to give praise. I think it's only fair. And they have really, really targeted who they wanted. And evidently they had a price in their mind that they were willing to pay. And they are executing. The fact that Hato and Simons are so close to being done, and we're still in July, and now they can spend the remainder of the window focusing on a goalkeeper and sales. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I can't help but praise. The other story that we need to cover quickly is regarding Kokarea. So Kokarea was on a podcast and he was sitting and talking. You know how people talk when they get on podcasts. When you sit down on a podcast, sometimes you forget that the world is listening. So you just chat like you're chatting to your boys. You just chat like without thinking about someone clipping you, someone talking about it. So what happens is things can get taken out of context. And some people took it, and I saw the links. Kokarea fires shots at Noni. And I was like, rah, it doesn't sound like a Kokarea thing. Kokarea is one of the most likable people. And what he said was not really shots. What he said was actually honest. He said he was really surprised that the deal went through so quick for Noni. He would have expected Noni to stay and play because it was a massive opportunity for him. He wasn't starting, and he also hinted at the fact that maybe he wasn't starting because of the saga that was going on, meaning it was basically, you're leaving, so why are you playing, type of vibe. And he was like, he just missed a huge opportunity. Then they spoke about the medal, and he was like, oh, Trump took his medal. Like, genuinely, Trump took his medal. And it was a joke, clearly, but for me, this is very eye-opening. I don't think there are any shots, but it also tells me how the team feels about Noni. I think there's a big respect for Noni Madueke in that team. He's a likable character. You can see he's the life of the party. He's always got a comment to make. He's cheeky chappy. A lot of these players are friends. And I think our fans forget this. Like, we all forget this when we see this from the outside. We view them as players. Some of us view them as superheroes. You know, some of them look at these players as role models. Don't do that. They're footballers. And they're all normal people that literally have friends and colleagues that they don't like. In this case, you know Noni was super popular in that dressing room because this isn't a shot. If anything, this is Kokarea saying we could have used him and he should have just delayed his move a little bit and got a medal. Nothing more. Please do not get clickbaited into believing these allegations. This final story makes me laugh because this final story is the epitome of people getting sold information that is partially true but not true at all. And I'm going to explain to you. So number one, we know Raheem Sterling is around about 325k minimum, right, a week. It could go up to as high as 375, subject to bonuses, blah, blah, blah. We know he's on big boy wages. He's the highest earner at the club. A lot of people want to get him out. His loan at Arsenal was pathetic, right? It was nothing short of pathetic. I think Raheem would call it pathetic. I like Raheem Sterling, right, as a person. Everything I've ever seen about Raheem Sterling from the media, the public eye when he's interviewed, when he speaks, any content that's produced on Chelsea TV, he is extremely likable. He comes across as a genuine person, and he comes across like somebody that you want to be friends with. Like, he just seems like a cool, chilled guy, blessed. So I never, ever attack the person's character. People are annoyed. Why doesn't he want to leave? He has got 3 years, right, earning money that is beyond belief. Chelsea gave him that contract. You need to pay him that contract. Because if he was rubbish and on smaller deals and wanted to stay at Chelsea and they wanted to sell him, he would have got forced out. So we need to keep the balance, right? We can't be player FC and we can't be overall club FC. We need to be respectful. We need to be adults in this room. And what I'm seeing at the moment is not adult-like judgment. People are saying, oh, he needs to go. And Chelsea are asking for £20 million. And the clubs linked are Bayern Leverkusen and Juventus from Ben Jacobs. I don't know who is feeding him this information, but if Chelsea are going to expect £20 million, bro, you might as well expect Raheem Sterling to stay for the life of his deal. Raheem Sterling's going nowhere. Nobody is paying 20 million for Raheem Sterling, plus those wages that you're going to have to settle for Raheem Sterling. It is not going to happen. It is not on the cards. Some people say he's finished. I think there is a player in there at a lower level than this. I think he can go to a Palace, a Fulham, a West Ham. And this is what my prediction, by the way. This player is going to go on loan on a on a Raheem Sterling friendly deal, meaning he's going to get all his wages. A club's going to get brilliant terms and conditions by taking him. And Chelsea are going to pay a big chunk of his salary whilst he goes loan to a London club. It's simple as that. Felix, the same boat. Joao Felix is a little bit different because I feel like Raheem Sterling achieved everything he could in his potential. We've seen the best of Raheem Sterling. With Felix, we haven't seen nothing to the level that he could have become. I think Felix's career has been a disappointment. I'm dead serious. A lot of you are going to say, how dare you say that? You rate the player. I rate the player highly. Part of me thinks he's 25, there's still time for him to recover. However, there's another side of me that says, we have seen enough evidence now where everywhere you go, big man, you're the problem. Because it can't always be someone else. It can't always be an excuse. And now he's in a predicament where Chelsea want £43 million for him. On what planet is he worth £43 million? You're not even registering him. People are like, oh, you're undervaluing our assets. Someone in the comments always says that, you know, like one of the bratuchis. Listen, even if you hate on me, you're one of the bratuchis. You're one of the broskis. I love you all. I can't lie to you. Haters, love, the people that share the love. I love you all, man. Genuinely. Because without you lot watching, there's no Kafka. And one guy always says, I need to see his name actually. You never rate our players. You always put their prices down. How is Joao Felix worth 43 million? He will agree with me. Like, Joao Felix can't be worth 43 million pounds. Why? Because he hasn't played any football. And when he has played football for Milan, he looked poor, and only at the end of the loan, he started looking more like himself. But it was too late at that. So for me, This is a predicament that we're just either going to have to reintegrate him into the squad, or we're going to have to loan him on one of those ugly loans that no one's going to like. It is what it is, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Bye.